Promo lasts till 31st of October 2018. Terms and conditions apply. Drive Doctor is here. Dr. Yao Osafo, he's taking pictures. Today he showed up, with some. Well, go check it out. I think the pictures are going to be on our social media pages, and it's going to be live on Facebook as well, so you can check out the doctor looking swaggerlicious. And hey, brah, whatever you do, you still have a bald head.
You know what they say about bald men?
What do they say?
It starts with an X. S.
S.
The 4-letter word.
4-letter word. Soup. They make bad soup.
The women know already, so
they already know. Doc, how you doing?
I'm great. I've had a lovely week. How about you?
Oh, by grace, we're well. Warming up for the walk.
Today I was in the gym this morning.
Hey, you were in the gym this morning, prepping.
Charlie, Philip will be coming, so I have to make sure.
He's your target man, eh?
Philip is my standard. Once I beat him in the first game, then I know that I'm through.
Oh man, Saturday is going to be lovely, and the team at Medicas are setting up for the free health screening. Is that
yes, I mean we are doing it again. So there'll be free health screening. We're doing an obesity screening, diabetes screening. Remember, it's World Heart Day.
Yeah,
and these are two conditions that can affect the heart. So we'll do body mass index and abdominal circumference. Dietitian will be there as usual. He always gets all the attention. A lot of people will be there, to have a chat with him.
And this particular time, he should actually tell us more about eggs, because the team at Mean and Eggs are coming with eggs.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we want to find out.
Yes, so I'm sure he'll do a good job at that. And then there'll be prizes. Every time people fight over this, so people will corner and say, "Oh, Dr. Glucobita, where's the last one?
The last one?"
I'm like, "Oh, come on! You answer the questions, you get the prize."
So, what should they do research about?
Medicas Hospital Facebook page.
Okay, get on there.
Go there. All the questions are going to come from there. So
amazing stuff. It's going to be good on Saturday. Can't wait. Well, we have a very delicate issue to talk about, Doc. One of our very good listeners has an issue. Says Lexus, I'm 38 and my mother is 69. She moved in with me when my dad died 4 years ago. Now, 3 weeks ago, my mom slipped off a kitchen stool and sat heavily on the floor. She was able to get up without much resistance. Well, later that evening, she began to complain about pain in her lower back and left hip. I served some pain meds and put a hot water bottle on her back. She slept with little fuss throughout the night. The following day, however, she complained the pain in her back had become worse. I sent her to a clinic nearby. After examination and an x-ray, I was told my mother had a fracture in her spine. Doctor, again, the doctor said that my mother had weak bones, osteo something. Doc mentioned her age was a factor. What can I do to help my mother? Is it true all grown folks can get weak bones? Is it true women are more likely to get weak bones as well? Please, Lexus, let the Drive Doctor help us out. So, we thought of finding out what this osteo something is, and probably if you can give us some education about it, Doc.
Right. So, good afternoon to all our listeners, and it's great to be here again another Wednesday. I don't have the full information, but I believe what our listener is referring to is something we call osteoporosis. Osteoporosis. Lex, we've got some fine names in medicine.
Nah,
so you can slang it.
That's scary.
Actually, it's a little scary. Simply put, brittle bones. It's a chronic disease of your bones, which causes them to become weak and brittle. So brittle that a fall or even mild stresses, such as bending over or coughing, can cause a fracture.
Coughing?
Yes.
Wow.
Or even bending over, getting yourself into certain positions can cause a fracture. Now you have that mischievous look on your face.
Doc, no.
When I said getting yourself into certain positions.
Oh, no.
So let's just leave it at that.
I mean, come on.
Osteoporosis. You started too early today.
Okay.
Right. Osteoporosis can lead to fractures, and the fractures commonly occur in the hip, in the wrist, and in your spine. typically the lower back. Right. So our listener mentioned that her mom, slept from a kitchen stool.
Yes,
so
and
the
then
kitchen
she
stool
sat
is very low.
Yeah.
It's not that much of a height, a distance to go through when you fall. And she sat heavily, and then later on she had a fracture in her lower back. So osteoporosis, she has brittle, weak bones as a result of certain processes that have happened in the bone, which I'm going to come to in a few minutes. This particular condition accounts for about 8.9 million fractures globally.
Wow.
Every year. So it's a fairly common condition. It is also common in elderly individuals. So anytime we talk about disease conditions that affect grown-ups, these days I talk carefully because every year I keep getting closer and closer to those ages where a lot of things happen. So, Lexus, your bones are in a constant state of renewal. So it's a lot of living tissues in our bodies that are constantly being renewed. New bone is made, and then old bone is broken down. So it's like your skin. You shed your skin, but we don't see it often. If you don't bath for a week, then you would know that we shed skin because you realize that your skin is peeling off. So bone is also the same thing. It's in a constant state of renewal. New bone is made, and then old bone is broken down. When you are young, your body makes new bone faster, and then it breaks down old bone slowly. As we grow, then this evens out. These two processes, forming new bone and breaking down old bone, it evens out. And then once we become elderly, then it reverses, where the rate at which you are making new bone is slower than the rate at which you are breaking down old bone. Most people will reach their peak bone mass by their early 20s. Yes.
That early?
Yes.
Oh.
So if you realize most people won't get taller after 25. That's your height. If anything at all, you're going to get shorter.
Abeku, sorry.
So so peak bone mass. So that we are talking about the strength of the bone, will occur in your early 20s. And then as people age, the bone mass is lost faster than it is created. A number of factors can increase the likelihood that you will develop this bone condition we call osteoporosis. Some of the factors, so I'm going to talk about risk factors because we are not going to talk about direct cause. These are conditions or situations that will increase your likelihood of having osteoporosis. Some of these factors are modifiable or changeable, and then there are others are not. So let me start with those that you can't do anything about. Number one is your gender or sex. Women are much more likely to develop osteoporosis than men. Sorry about that for the women. So, and our listener sent in a case, it was her mother. So we see it more commonly in women. Age is the next thing. You can't change that either. The older you get, the greater your risk of osteoporosis. So if you're a young person, young man, in your late 20s, 30s, and you don't need to think about this. But because we all pray that, nyankopo mami nyinche, I want to live to be 70 or 80, then we should all be concerned about this. Race is also another non-modifiable factor. You are at greatest risk of osteoporosis if you are of Caucasian origin, you're a white person, or of Asian descent. Thankfully, this time around, we Africans, at least, we've been spared. Every time, most of the things are, they'll say in Africa.
But it doesn't mean that you can't get it.
No, we are talking about greatest risk.
The greatest risk.
Yes. So it is much more common in Caucasians and then people of Asian descent. The other factor is family history. Having a parent or a sibling with osteoporosis puts you at greater risk. So if your mother or your brothers, any of your brothers or sisters had this condition before, then compared to some other person who doesn't have that positive family history, then you are at a greater risk. Especially if your mother or father experienced a hip fracture then your risk goes up. The last non-modifiable factor is body frame size. I mean, men and women who have small body frames tend to have a higher risk because they may have less bone mass to draw from as they age.
Okay.
So Lexus, you got fine body, so big frame is good, but Abiku, myself, and then Philip, we should be concerned. So these are the non-modifiable risk factors. Now let's look at the modifiable risk factors, the things that you and I can do something about. Some unhealthy habits can increase your risk of osteoporosis. The first one is a sedentary lifestyle. Like these people who spend a lot of time sitting, or sitting most of the time, have a higher risk of osteoporosis. Yes.
So those of us with jobs where we have to sit in the office and
if that takes the majority of your day, the large part of your day, and you don't do any physical activity, you don't deliberately exercise, you don't work activity into that lifestyle, and you just sit behind the desk or sit in front of your shop or sit behind that computer, it's not good. It increases your risk. So again, I'm happy, we are doing our third quarter, walk with Lexus back, because again, we want to put that physical activity and exercise into the mindset of all individuals.
So physical activity also reduces your risk of osteoporosis.
Exactly.
Oh wow.
Because the flip, which is the sedentary life, would lead to it. So if you increase activity in your life, then you reduces your risk of developing osteoporosis. Even if you have a small frame, even if you are a female, even if you are growing old, So if you look at the non-modifiable factors, now you can't do anything about it. If you're a woman, you're a woman. You can go and have the sex change that they are talking about, but you're still a woman. So that's not going to change. So the things that you can change, number one, is a sedentary lifestyle. You work activity into your daily life. Now I'm back. I haven't talked about alcohol in how many weeks?
No.
Philip is very happy. His Facebook army people, they've left me for a long while. But I'm back. Excessive alcohol consumption. It's also one of the lifestyle, choices that we make that increases your risk of osteoporosis.
One standard drink a day.
Well, so we'll say that regular consumption of more than 2 alcoholic drinks a day increases your risk of osteoporosis. So
more than 2?
2.
So just 2 is fine?
No, 2 a day. If you are doing 2 a day, it increases your risk.
But you said more than 2?
No, I'm saying 2. If you are doing 2.
First you said more than 2, so why change your mind?
I've changed my mind. Lexus. You want to do that too? No, so the point has been made again about the alcohol consumption, excessive alcohol consumption, not good enough. The third lifestyle issue I want to talk about is tobacco use. The exact role of that tobacco plays in osteoporosis is not clearly understood, but the association is there. I mean, tobacco contributes to weak bones. So if you smoke tobacco, quit. Try and get help, to stop. So these are the major lifestyle changes that make a big contribution to osteoporosis. There are other things, other medical conditions that sometimes make a contribution. Sometimes people have epilepsy, seizures, or convulsions, and we put them on some medications. Some of these anti-seizure medications can make a contribution to your development of osteoporosis. But I also want to mention steroids. Like this, these days there's a phenomenon amongst the women folk in this country. And I got to know about this when I worked in the Ashanti region. They are popping steroid tablets like crazy.
The women?
Yes. And it's
Why?
all, I'll tell you, when you take steroids for a long time, you get distribution of fat in certain parts of your body. And in Ghana, the men like the Etikopo TV.
Okay.
No flat screen business. So now the women have, I don't know how they got to know that, but then they are going out there. Unfortunately, these drugs are not over-the-counter drugs. But in Ghana, enforcement of laws is a big problem. So they get hold of these tablets and then they pop them because it will cause them to have fat in certain parts of the area that they find desirable.
Wow.
But steroids are bad news. They're not good. It can make a big contribution to the development of weak bones or osteoporosis. Other medical conditions like kidney problems or chronic kidney disease can also make a contribution. People who have goiter and they see a large swelling at the base of their neck and they have high thyroid hormone levels can also suffer osteoporosis. Dietary factors are also very important. You've got to watch what you eat. You've got to make the right choices. Bone strength largely determined by vitamin D, calcium, and then adequate protein intake. Most of the time when we talk about bone, we don't think about proteins. But proteins make a big contribution in terms of the structure of bones. And therefore, you must have adequate protein intake. Very good calcium in your diets, and later on I'll talk about the sources of calcium. Thankfully, we are blessed with sunlight in our part of the world, so vitamin D is not an issue in our part of the world. But if you have elderly folks who are confined for one reason or the other, to the insides of their homes or to their beds, then they are not able to come out and enjoy enough sunshine. So, Lexus, these are all the various risk factors that make a contribution to the development of the brittle bones.
If you have any questions, please send us a WhatsApp message right now on 0244340437, or you can call 0302216541 if you want to have if you want to question the doctor about any of the things that we've talked about this afternoon. Anthony says the way the doctor hit the nail on alcohol, he makes the spirit to move me more than my priest does. Doctor, I tested myself for osteoporosis. I do not have some, but I get these back pains whenever I sit for long. I mostly prefer either lying or standing. Sometimes it gets so uncomfortable. Any help?
Right. So there's some time back, I think last year, we discussed back pain, on this show. So he should go onto that onto our Medical's Hospital Facebook page. I usually put all the information there. He sits for long, so it may be a mechanical back pain and not osteoporosis.
Doc, my mom suddenly developed this severe back pain that she can't stand straight. The doctor said the liquid between her spine has dried up again. That she said she has spondylosis. How dangerous is that, and what can she do to remedy this? That's from Sewa.
Right. So I think largely there are different causes of back pain or bone problems. I mean, osteoarthritis, and then sometimes shifts in the normal curvature of your spine. The arrangement of the bones in your back will all make a contribution. And as we grow, depending on how well you've taken care of your back, this carrying things, head loads, very heavy loads in your early years, can affect your spine. So that is different from osteoporosis, where the bone density is the problem. So this is more of an aging bone in a different regard, and it has to do with the shape of a spine. But we can help. I mean, together with the orthopedic specialist and then the physiotherapist, we can help them. So after the show, you can get in touch.
Oti.
Hello, Alexis.
Welcome.
Afternoon. Thank you. Afternoon to Doctor too.
Hello.
Doctor.
Yes.
What you say? I'm really in that because I am Taylor. I sit down a lot.
Okay.
And I'm asking, can I sit down like 45 minutes and I'll stand up and iron and do something 50 minutes and I continue? That one should be okay for me. Like I'll time myself 45 minutes for sitting, 15 minutes for standing. That's right for me.
Okay, all right. So I made a point about having a sedentary lifestyle. That means you need to work a lot of activity into your daily life. So yes, you need to go to work, and your work may dictate that you sit for long periods. There are two issues with that. You can get what we call a mechanical back pain. because of the posture.
Mm-hmm.
If I go to a lot of the seamstresses and then the tailors, they sit on these stools that don't have any back support.
Mm-hmm.
So if you sit for long periods, you're going to get backache. The muscles in your back, will go into spasm. So that's a different thing altogether. So it's good if you can periodically get up, do something, walk about, do something else. But the chair you sit on to work, you have to do something about it. You have to get one that is friendly into your back. It must have a backrest and it must be appropriate for your back.
Hello, Efia.
Hello.
Hi, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Let's hear you.
I want to find out from the doctor. My father, I know my father died of osteoporosis. My grandmother too had a bone defect before she died. I've started having pains in my joints, especially my knee, and I sit a lot at work. What does he advise?
Right. Thank you. Once you've got that positive family history, I alluded to that when I was talking about the risk factors.
Yeah.
Once you have that positive family history of osteoporosis, then you are at an increased risk of developing osteoporosis. She's female as well, or you are female as well. So that again puts you in that risk category. Then I don't know her age, but as you grow, and for women as they hit the menopause, then the estrogen levels go down, and then this bone, the removal of the old bone, becomes even faster. So simple advice is she needs to see a doctor, and there are a few doctors who have interest in this area. We call them metabolic, specialists. So I do a bit of work in that area, as my subspecialty. So she needs to contact a doctor. She will take her through the preliminary examination, just to make sure that the bone density that she has is good enough. The pain she has in her knee there may be other things. It may be osteoarthritis, which is a different entity from osteoporosis. But she's got a positive family history. She's female, and therefore she should get in touch.
Well, I'm sure the team at Medicas Hospital can help you. Luckily for you, Medicas has a branch in Medina, and doctor will give us the directions. But Kweku is here. Hello, Kweku. Hello, is Kweku on? Okay, well, sure. So, Doc, as we wrap up, can you share with me some of the, you mentioned a few ways to prevent or probably delay osteoporosis. I remember having to include physical activity in your everyday routine. But what else can we do to prevent it?
Right. So I just want to emphasize that particular point because it's one of the things that's easily modifiable. Any weight-bearing exercise or activity that promotes balance and good posture are beneficial for your bones.
Okay.
Right. So things like walking, running, jumping, dancing, and weightlifting seem particularly helpful. You like the weightlifting?
Weightlifting, no.
Hey,
Mama, dumbbells, no.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. You can use the dumbbells to do the weightlifting. So exercise will benefit. Exercise will benefit your bones no matter when you start. But you will gain the most benefits if you start exercising regularly when you are young.
Okay.
And continue to exercise throughout your life.
Okay.
That's when you get the most benefit. So let us make it a part of what we do. And then you have to combine endurance training, which is the aerobic stuff, with the weight bearing,
the weight training as well.
The weight training.
Okay.
So you run the gym, so I think the type of exercise we're talking about. Then the dietary issues are also very, very important. Nuts, legumes, green leafy vegetables, kuntumbre, they're all good sources of calcium. Shrimps, crabs, they're all very good sources. Stop smoking. Don't do excessive alcohol.
Okay.
These are the things that you can do to protect your bones so they last you a lifetime.
Awesome. Well, there you go. The doctor has said it all. I'm sure you probably have some things you want to clarify. Doctor will give us his contact and then we can call him. But more importantly, you can meet him up this Saturday at Pediasi JHS. Walk with Lexus. The doctor will be there. The drive doctor will be there. The celebrity doctor will be there with his team. We'll be doing free health screening.
Yeah.
And if you want to talk to him about osteoporosis, you can have that conversation there and probably book an appointment and see him at Medicas Hospital in Mampong and Medina Firestone.
Yes.
Is that where it is?
Yes, Medina Firestone, just behind the SGSSP.
Awesome.
Our number is 0501 477-340. And we'll continue the conversation on our Facebook page, Medicas Hospital.
Awesome. So speak to Medicas Hospital and all the other issues that you want to find. I've received God knows how many messages, tons of them about this particular topic that we're talking about. This particular, let me just see if I can read this. Lexus, Dr. Safo mentioned tobacco as one of the risk factors one can put an end to. I want to know something. If smoking weed can also be a problem. I'm also into what is called resistance training, and I read about it that it helps women strengthen their bones and muscles, which in the long run reduces the risk of getting the condition. Is that true?
Yes, absolutely. So that's the point I made earlier about the resistance training or the weight bearing, exercises. So it's Janet from West Legon. Okay. Yeah. So Janet, I like the second part of your solution. Let's leave the weed out.
Dr. Pa. Doctor. Do you know how many people out there